All right, we are back now. Good afternoon. I'm Chad Crilly. We are continuing to track strong thunderstorms across San Diego County this afternoon. And I told you yesterday that today might be a little bit more active than what we saw yesterday, both in terms of storm intensity and then also storm coverage. Our flow has turned slightly more out of the south and southeast as that high pressure system has migrated to the south, which is a better setup for us when it comes to monsoon thunderstorms. So already watching one thunderstorm here across San Diego County that has a special weather statement on it. So I want to get down to the very latest on this storm, and it's kind of in the vicinity of Mount Laguna. It's just to the west of Mount Laguna right now. Special weather statement until 1:30 this afternoon, and it is advertising the possibility of half-inch hail and 50-mile-per-hour winds. The storm is moving to the northeast at about 10 miles per hour, which is a pretty slow rate. Again, a lot of the storms that we've seen here over the past day or so have been moving extremely slowly, only at about 5 to 10 miles per hour, sometimes north, sometimes northeast. And so because of that, it's led to a little bit higher of a flooding concern. And I think today will be another day where we need to watch out for any isolated flooding concerns that pop up, especially with these cells that are pretty slow movers. But nonetheless, here's the one that has the special weather statement on it, again, until 1:30. It's to the west of Mount Laguna, and I can go ahead and put this into animation mode. We'll go over the past 30 minutes or so, and you can see how the storm has really just popped up and exploded with the daytime heating. Now, here's something I want you to keep in mind, right? So just like yesterday, I think the cycle that we're going to find today is there will be quite a few thunderstorms that get going into the afternoon. Some of them may be strong, a couple of them may be severe, and then as they kind of reach their intensity, they tend to fall apart a little bit. It's like they can only get so strong before they collapse and fall apart and produce some gusty winds on their way down. And that's really just because there isn't a huge forcing mechanism out there for some of these thunderstorms to develop. But regardless, there's your special weather statement. And this cell actually is showing some signs of a hail core on it. And so what I'd like to do now is go ahead and turn on kind of our hail swath or hail detector, and you can certainly see that to the west of Mount Laguna, we are getting some indication that hail is at least possible, if not probable, by some of those darker purple colors that you're seeing. And another way we can look at this is by taking a special look at a product that you're only going to find here at Chad Crilly Weather, right? Nowhere else in San Diego County. This is our exclusive threat detector, and it shows us anything from heavy rainfall all the way up to rotation, and then in the middle of that, it also picks up on hail. So our threat detector right now is really showing a pretty strong hail core to the west of Mount Laguna, and then just east of Pine Valley. How big is this hail? Well, according to the National Weather Service, at least, we have hail that's up to half-inch, but we can probably get a little bit more specific than that and plot some of this out for you. So according to our threat detector, there are at least a couple of spots here where the hail may be a little bit larger than half of an inch. This is 1.5 inches that's being estimated by our threat detector, which very well could be above that severe criteria. Remember, in order for a storm to become severe, it needs to have hail 1 inch in diameter or winds to 58 miles per hour or greater. In this case, I think we're at least finding a few isolated pockets here where the hail could potentially be a little bit larger than an inch, and so that would meet severe criteria. We'll see whether or not the National Weather Service in San Diego chooses to issue a severe thunderstorm warning on this cell or not, but for right now it is just a special weather statement until 1:30, and the cell itself is west of Mount Laguna and northeast of Pine Valley. And look at that. We just got an update on radar. Hail core continues to get stronger. So I would say there's probably at least some hail that's falling up to an inch on this, if not a little bit bigger. Let's zoom it a little bit tighter, give you some crossroads and some street names. So here is Sunrise Highway. And again, that's west of Mount Laguna. So here's Sunrise Highway. And just north of Sunrise Highway and kind of running right along Cleveland National Forest Road is where we're picking up on likely some very large hail in here. That is an inch to possibly 1.5 inches in diameter, and that's the type of hail that's going to cause issues for your vehicles. This would be one of those storms where you don't want to be outside. A lot of folks this time of year like to go up here and do some hiking, some picnicking. Not a good idea today with these thunderstorms that continue to grow and pop up. I mean, anytime that you start to see some of this very dark, almost black color that's showing up here on radar, that is more than likely a very strong indication that we have a pretty significant hail core on this storm right now. And so, with that being said, obviously, you want to make sure that if you're in the vicinity of this storm that you're taking proper precautions, moving inside, away from windows. The storm itself is moving pretty slowly to the northeast here at about 10 miles per hour. And you can see how it's really popped up. Again, radar at about 12:30 or so was quiet. We got to 1 o'clock, and then all of a sudden this storm sort of exploded. And again, now we are seeing that there is definitely a hail core signature on this, and I would estimate the hail on this storm is at least 1 inch, if not a little bit larger than that. You can see the hail swath here indicates that hail is not just possible, but also probable and likely. This is west of Mount Laguna, so if you're in Mount Laguna, the cell in the hail core within this cell is not an issue for you. But definitely, as we plot out here with our threat detector, again, an exclusive tool, some of the potential hail sizes near Cleveland National Forest Road. Also here near Sunrise Highway, you're getting hail that is likely in the vicinity of 1 inch to 1.5 inches, which technically is above severe criteria. So far, the cell just has a special weather statement on it. But boy, oh boy, this is the type of hail signature that you would see sometimes out in the Midwest, right? Not necessarily here in San Diego County mountains, but regardless, this is a strong storm that is passing east of Balua Picnic Ground, and it is moving to the northeast at 10 miles per hour. This is west of Mount Laguna. Look at the lightning on this. There is quite a bit of lightning on this cell right now. How much specifically? We're seeing 17 strikes just within the past couple of minutes. And anytime that you talk about a cell that has lightning that is consistently coming down and being popped up here, that is an indication that, one, the cell is probably strengthening, and then also, two, that there is a hail core on it, as we can see by some of the black contour there. I'm getting an update now from the Weather Prediction Center, and I'm reading it, and then I'm going to pass it along to you. But for right now, what you're looking at is, again, a storm with a pretty significant hail core on it that is to the west of Mount Laguna, east of Balua Picnic Grounds, and just northeast of Pine Valley. So the Weather Prediction Center, it's a little different than the Storm Prediction Center, but what the Weather Prediction Center has done is they've gone ahead and highlighted all of Southern California, extending pretty much all the way out to the coastline in what we call a precipitation discussion. And I just want to read some of this off to you. This is, again, straight from the Weather Prediction Center. They are calling this a mesoscale precipitation discussion. The summary on this, again, I'm going to read the plain text to you, and then from that point forward, we'll kind of break it down. Scattered monsoon showers and thunderstorms will foster a threat for isolated to scattered areas of flash flooding. The normally dry washes, slots, canyons, and burn scars. Burn scars are something to keep in mind here. Will be of the greatest impact going through early this evening. Plots, and that is just basically a way that we measure how much water content is in the atmosphere, is pretty high. We have CAPE values, which are, again, an indication of how much energy is in the atmosphere. Convective available potential energy is one way to look at it. That's a technical term. That is in the range here of 2,000 to 3,000 joules per kilogram in the vicinity of the San Diego County mountains. So that's just an explosive environment for thunderstorms. And so basically what the Weather Prediction Center is saying is that there are some belts of 30 knots of effective bulk shear. Okay, that's some meteorological terms that I'm not going to divulge to you. But okay, spotty 2 to 3 inch rainfall totals are possible anywhere where storms happen to train over the same area. So that's just kind of a new product that has just been issued as a mesoscale discussion for all of our area, indicating as these thunderstorms go up, one of the biggest issues is more than likely going to be the thunderstorms themselves that end up producing heavy amounts of rain that could lead to flooding. So one cell that we continue to watch particularly closely is this one west of Mount Laguna that has the special weather statement on it until 1:30. This is east of Balua Picnic Ground. It looks like the hail size may have come down just a little bit on this. So here was, as we kind of reverse radar a little bit and drop south, here was probably where the hail core peaked. This was around 1250, 106. Obviously, you can see some of those very deep, dark black colors is where the hail peaked. And then now it looks like the hail core on this storm is coming down a little bit. Again, it is tracking to the northeast at about 10 miles per hour. So let's go ahead and put a track on this. I want to widen out the view before we do that so we can actually get some cities and some towns in the vicinity of this cell. And keep in mind, it is very slow moving, so the rainfall rates themselves are going to be, kind of heavy at times. And again, the storm continues to track to the north. I would say Julian would eventually be in line for this particular cell, maybe an hour to an hour and a half down the road if it holds itself together, because again, it's only moving northeast here at about 10 miles per hour, which is about as fast as some of us are walking. So 10 miles per hour is very slow. I want to take this out even further, extend this here. We're going to take it out maybe beyond an hour to an hour and a half to give you some approximate times of arrival. So if this cell was to hold itself together, it would be in Julian by around 2:38. And here's the thing. A lot of the times with these cells in particular, what ends up happening is they pulse up and they pulse down. We do have a new severe thunderstorm warning that has just been issued. So this is our first severe thunderstorm warning of the day, and it is for this cell that we've been watching. And remember a second ago I was telling you, the hail core on it really came up, and some of the hail that we were seeing was over an inch to an inch and a half in diameter. So just for the sake of clarity, I'm going to turn off the special weather statement so you can clearly see the severe thunderstorm warning that has been issued. So here it is. It is a severe thunderstorm warning until 2:15. And so I'm going to go ahead and grab the text on this from the National Weather Service just so I can bring you kind of what the hazards are within this storm. And so the Weather Service is saying, obviously they have issued that severe thunderstorm warning for two things. It's going to be hail up to an inch in diameter, which we talked about, right? We showed you that hail core, and then also the possibility of 60 mile per hour wind gusts. And the storm continues now to track northwest at 10 miles per hour. So the actual speed on this has not changed very much. The only thing that's really changed here is now we have a formal severe thunderstorm warning. Again, this is, if you're just tuning in, over the central San Diego County mountains. This is the first severe thunderstorm warning of our monsoon season. So I told you today would kind of be an uptick in this activity. There you have it. Who's included in the severe thunderstorm warning right now? Balua Picnic Grounds, Stallion Oaks included in this as well. Here's State Route 79. In fact, the cell itself, or the most intense part of the cell, is likely going to be approaching State Route 79 here in the matter of 20 to 25 minutes. So if you are somebody who is trying to travel along State Route 79 right now, between Descanso and you're heading northeast towards Harrison Park, I would completely avoid doing that, because we do have, do not travel on 79 right now between Descanso and Harrison Park, because we have a very strong and now a severe thunderstorm cell that is moving to the northwest at 10 miles per hour. So the Weather Service has advertised an inch for hail. That is severe criteria. I think earlier we were probably seeing hail that was actually a little bit larger than that. And then winds up to 60 miles per hour. So I want to go ahead and turn on our velocity tool. And what velocity does, again, is it really shows us how strong some of the winds are, and we may have to play with the tilt a little bit here on the radar, just like what we were doing yesterday. But we'll query some of this for you. I think likely where we're finding some of the strongest wind gusts in here are likely going to be just to the east of Balua, the Balua picnic grounds. So certainly in here, where you're seeing some of the darker green color showing up in here, and then the red. So these are winds that are blowing towards in green and then away from the radar site in red, indicating where we're more than likely finding some of those gusty winds. I would say, now more than likely at least above 58 miles per hour, if not getting up to 60 miles per hour in this pocket right here. So near or just east of Balua Picnic Ground. So severe thunderstorm warning issued here, obviously, because of the possibility of number one, the wind gusts up to 60 miles per hour, and then also the possibility of hail that could be up to an inch in size. And the severe thunderstorm warning does go until about 2:15, so that takes us out about another hour or so. The radar site that we've been looking from right now has been from the Yuma site. And I don't want to play around too much with anything, but I want to change to San Diego just for a second to see if we're getting any better perspective on this cell. And San Diego's site is actually doing a pretty good job of showing us this cell as well. So I may, for just a moment, change back over to the San Diego radar site. And you can see we still certainly have a hail core in here. The hail core itself is going to be just to the east of Pine Creek Road. So here's Pine Creek Road. Here's Cleveland Road. And then in this vicinity where you're seeing some of those darker purple colors is where we have the hail core that's ongoing, and then the winds that are likely up to about 60 miles per hour. So again, turning on velocity, not really getting the cleanest or the best velocity product here. But nonetheless, you get the idea. It's going to be in this area where we're picking up winds up to about 60 miles per hour. So let's pull out here for a second and let's do another track on this storm as it continues its path here towards the northwest at 10 miles per hour, which is very slow moving. So the next thing I'm going to do after this is check on our rainfall rates and how much rain has come down with this cell so far. But again, severe thunderstorm warning continues on this cell until 2:15. And we're going to go back over to Yuma's radar site because that's where we were getting the very best image at one point is out from Yuma's radar. And it looks like the hail core may have ticked up just a little bit on this. So let's get a path on this. Let's track it again out for you out to the northwest at about 10 miles per hour. If you're just joining us and joining my coverage right now, we have a severe thunderstorm warning, the first severe thunderstorm warning of the day out here in central San Diego County for this rather compact looking storm that is moving to the northwest at about 10 miles per hour. So it's a slow mover. Julian at 1:58, so the time now is 1:20. If this cell holds itself together, more than likely it'll be into Julian by 1:58. So that gives you 120, 30, 40, 50. I suck at math. Another like 35, 40 minutes to prepare. If I were somebody who is hiking in Julian, maybe you're up there at the apple pie shop in Julian Pie Company, having some lunch. If you are somebody who is trying to travel right now or getting ready to travel, maybe west out of Julian, heading back towards Ramona, in this area, I would say let's wait. Let's wait another probably hour and a half to 2 hours, because eventually what's going to happen is this cell, which is producing winds to 60 miles per hour and quarter-size hail, is going to move right over Julian and kind of right through that main road here that takes us west out of Julian towards Ramona and then into North County, San Diego. So hail a concern, obviously wind is a concern, but the other thing is a concern to me is, our issues with rainfall today. We have that precipitation discussion that's out, which has indicated heavy rainfall that could lead to flooding, which is a possibility. So let's check on our accumulation here. And yeah, there's been quite a bit of rainfall that's come down in this cell west of Mount Laguna, east of Balua Picnic Ground. Again, some of these roads that I've been talking to you about, like Sunrise Highway. Again, there's Sunrise Highway. Here again is Cleveland National Forest Road. And these are spots that are not only dealing with the severe component to this storm, with hail up to an inch, and then obviously the 60-mile-per-hour winds, but a storm that is moving extremely slowly to the northwest at 10 miles per hour. So let's check out how much rainfall we've seen so far. I know this says in the past 3 hours, but this is the past 45 minutes with this cell. And you can see there's been some pockets here of rainfall over 1.5 inches in many cases north of Sunrise Highway, west of Mount Laguna. And the problem is with this cell only moving northwest at 10 miles per hour, you're going to continue to see the rain accumulate, and eventually that could lead to some concerns with flooding and flash flooding, just like we saw yesterday. So those creeks, those streams are probably starting to add up a little bit. Let's get back over to our exclusive threat detector. And again, this is a product that you're not going to see anywhere else. The threat detector here is exclusive to Chad Crilly Weather, and it shows us, it does a great job. It shows us anything from rain all the way up to shear when it comes to any spin. Obviously, we're not dealing with a tornado threat today, but our threat detector is definitely picking up on quite a bit of hail and a hail core within this storm. So let's see how big the hail is now according to our threat detector. It's interesting. Before this severe thunderstorm warning was issued, our threat detector was picking up on hail that was 1 inch to 1.5 inches, and then the storm looked like it down-ticked just a little bit. And then as it down-ticked, the Weather Service issued the severe thunderstorm warning on it, which kind of leads me to believe that they were reluctant to pull the trigger on this severe thunderstorm warning. The cell is weakening a little bit, but still now I think we're finding some 1/2 inch hail in here. So I would be inclined to believe at this point in time, most of the hail that is falling within this storm is below severe limits. Probably up to 1/2 inch, and then I think you're probably finding some wind gusts now likely in the range of about 50 to 55 miles per hour. So yes, technically we still have a severe thunderstorm warning on this cell. It is putting down torrential amounts of rainfall. The hail now is about 1/2 inch, and again, only moving to the northwest at 10 miles per hour. So here's what I'm going to do for just a second. As we watch this storm, I'm just going to look behind the scenes. I'm also going to update social media since I'm a one-man band here, just making sure our folks who are not streaming are able to keep up to date on social media, at least with what's going on in terms of our active weather. And I'll push this back over here like this, and open up Facebook real quick. And again, I'm just publishing everything that we're talking about. There we go. Publish that. Push that back out. Let's get back over to what we're watching now and what we continue to track, this severe storm. I want to put this into animation mode for just one more second because obviously what you can see happening here is at one point, this storm really picked up in intensity. I mean, this was around 1:07 p.m. So this is not a live image, but this was at 1:07. This is when we had the hail core on this storm that was likely and more than likely over 1.5 inches in diameter. That was really severe hail that was coming down. So the National Weather Service at that time was looking at it. They were looking at it. They're thinking, okay, what do we do? They pull the trigger on the severe thunderstorm warning, and then now the cell looks like it is weakening a little bit, although it may be trying to back build here towards Mount Laguna. I was talking about this yesterday, how oftentimes when you get one cell here that kind of starts to collapse on itself, you get outflow winds or gust fronts or outflow winds that come out from the cell, and then that can kind of help ignite new cells. And that may be what's happening here out near Mount Laguna. Can't say for certain, but it is definitely a possibility. Still, if I were up near Julian, I would be watching this closely. Again, the storm continues to track up to the northwest at 10 miles per hour. Severe thunderstorm warning continues on this. So there's a track. Again, it is getting awful close to Julian. And I want to take the track out a little bit further. Let's do like an hour and a half. So there's Julian at 2:02. It is 1:28 right now. So if you're in Julian, you have probably but another 30 minutes or so to prepare for this cell. Again, as I mentioned, it's starting to weaken just a little bit. I think it's collapsing on itself right now, but regardless, at any point, it could re-strengthen, it could reorganize itself. Again, the more than likely scenario that I'm seeing that's happening is this was up here, the main cell, right? Northeast of Balua Picnic Grounds, sort of is still the main cell, but this was the main cell at one point. Now it's starting to weaken because remember, there's no real forcing mechanism. And so as it's weakening, it is sending some outflow winds in this direction. And those outflow winds are helping to ignite a new storm or a stronger part of this cell that is located near Mount Laguna, and this is over again near or just west of Mount Laguna. So here's Sunrise Highway. If you're traveling south along Sunrise Highway trying to get into Mount Laguna, here's Los Jucos Road. This is now where we're starting to pick up on a little bit more heavy rainfall, the potential, of course, for some thunderstorm activity, and maybe a little bit of small hail, though I think the hail on this is definitely below severe limits. But this is it. This is the only severe thunderstorm warning that we have right now in San Diego County. And, of course, the cell itself, by the time the National Weather Service pulled the trigger on this cell, it started to weaken a little bit. So we're still watching it. It's definitely a strong thunderstorm. Elsewhere in the county, for the most part, we're fairly dry. This is the only cell that we're watching for the time being. There are more thunderstorms that are here in Baja that are trying to creep north. If they hold themselves together, it's probably going to be another 2 to 3 hours before they make it into far southern San Diego County. So that means our attention and our focus will remain on this severe thunderstorm warning that expires at 2:15. And we've just been kind of watching the behavior of the storm, right? It's been pulsing down a little bit. The hail core has certainly come down. You're not seeing those dark black colors anymore. Which indicates the hail is getting a little bit smaller. So I want to shift our attention away for just a second from the hail and the winds that could be up to, I think at this point now we're probably talking 45 to 50 mile per hour wind gusts within this cell. And then maybe, some hail size, it's about 1/2 inch or so. I don't know that we're really reaching the criteria of severe hail at this point. But I want to show you the rainfall here over the past 3 hours that Doppler radar has estimated. And again, these are some pretty impressive totals. You can check out some spots west of Mount Laguna just in the past hour or so with this one cell, which has been drifting to the northwest at 10 miles per hour. We're talking 1 to 1.5, getting close to 2 inches of rain. So no flash flood warning in place for the time being on this cell. But obviously, look at how the rain has piled up here over the past hour. That cell kind of exploded, and then all of a sudden now you're seeing the rainfall and the rainfall totals really expand. So this will be one to watch, just to make sure that we don't get any flash flood warnings on this. At this time, I think we're still kind of in the safe area. Not enough rain has fallen just yet for us to get a flash flood warning, but still, again, it is the heavy amounts of rain that continue to come down with this particular cell that's concerning. In fact, I would say first and foremost, it's the rain that could lead to flash flooding, then some of the hail, and then thirdly, some of the winds, again, which I would estimate now probably 45 up to about 50 miles per hour on this particular cell. And so, again, we've seen, this is a look at the hail tracker right now. Again, the hail core itself, and there's still a hail core on it, right? Just because some of the hail size has shrunken down just a little bit doesn't mean that there's not a hail core on it. There still is. Some estimates here, again, that the hail may be in the range of, half of an inch, maybe not quite getting up to that inch range, that severe criteria. Our threat detector does a great job at picking up on the actual hail sizes. Again, a lot of this that you're seeing within the hail core part of the storm is about half an inch. That's below severe criteria on this particular cell. Now, let me reverse this for you over the past hour or so and widen out the view a little bit, and you can see at one point, this was around, I think, 1:15 or so when our hail core really spiked. And this is when we were talking about hail that was, again, 1 inch to 1.5 inches. And that was right before the National Weather Service pulled the trigger on that severe thunderstorm warning. Still, obviously, heavy amounts of rain on this cell. You can see the presentation on it is not quite as compact or as tight as it once was. Which indicates, again, for right now, it's weakening. What I will say is I think that this is just kind of the start of what's going to be a really busy day for us, especially considering it's only 1:30. We haven't even necessarily got to peak daytime heating, which this time of year is around, 2, 3, sometimes 4 o'clock. So there's a lot more room to go. And I have a feeling that even after this severe thunderstorm warning expires, I'm going to be back with you streaming for much of this afternoon and into this evening as we get more storms that pop up, the possibility of more severe weather, the possibility of some flash flooding concerns. Here's a look at some more thunderstorm cells. This is a very weak cell. It is south of Boulder Park right now, still on the Mexico side in Baja, but it is trying to get a little bit stronger. It may try to drift north to northwest into Boulder Park right along the 8 here in the next little bit. If it does so, it could get stronger, and that'll be one to watch. But for right now, the only severe thunderstorm warning that we have in San Diego County is this severe thunderstorm warning until 2:15 for a cell that, to me, looks like it's weakening. Without the forcing mechanism, these storms kind of fall apart. But regardless, it is north of Mount Laguna right now. Mount Laguna, you're in the all clear. You are not included any longer in the severe thunderstorm warning. It looked like the outflow winds from this cell were kind of trying to help redevelop more rain over Mount Laguna. That didn't necessarily come into play. But notice, again, really here, as we break this down for you, check out how the hail core has been shrinking on this. The storm looks less compact than it did, 30 to 45 minutes ago. It's kind of spread out a little bit. It doesn't necessarily have that compact look to it. And because of that, again, that is at least one sign that for right now, this cell continues to weaken. Bigger picture here, across the country, and really across the desert Southwest, is that there are a lot of monsoon thunderstorms that are going to try to start developing out here in the next couple of hours, especially out here in central Arizona. We're going to get some big-time thunderstorms that are going to develop. You're already seeing some big-time thunderstorms developing out here in Baja. And as a matter of fact, the Storm Prediction Center has a risk level 2 out of 5 for severe weather out here towards Phoenix, down through Maricopa, Tucson, here for this afternoon and this evening, because they're really expecting some of these monsoonal thunderstorms to take off. You can see here locally, we're under what we call a general risk for thunderstorms, which basically means we expect garden variety showers and thunderstorms. However, living here for some time, most of my life, I can tell you when we get these monsoon patterns, more often than not, we do end up getting severe weather and severe thunderstorm warnings out in our mountains, and today is no exception. So there's that cell that we continue to watch here, getting closer to Julian. Julian, now would be the time to move inside. Please do not do any walking or any hiking. There's some really beautiful hikes up near Julian, but I do not want you to be going out there right now, because even though this cell is on the downtick, there's still quite a few lightning strikes with this cell that we're watching as it drifts up here to the northwest at 10 miles per hour. So let's get you a fresh track in Julian with a new time of arrival on this. And I'm going to give you a little extra lead time here as this comes into Julian at about 10 miles per hour. We'll give you a little extra lead time. So there's Julian now at 157. So 157 is when we expect at least some of the rain showers to start to develop in Julian, and then that will be followed by the thunderstorms and the heavy rain and the lightning and some of the wind and the possibility of some small hail in there as well. I'm going to look behind the scenes here for just a second because what I'd like to do is check on let's see. What I'd like to do is check on some of our Alert California cams from Julian, and because I think it's going to paint a really interesting picture of this cell moving into Julian. The wonderful thing about living here in Southern California is we have so many of these Alert California cams that are so easily accessible, and we're able to see pretty far out and pretty close when we track these thunderstorms. Originally, these were once used and are still very often used for tracking wildfires, but they also do a great job here of tracking thunderstorm activity as they develop, and we can in real time check out where thunderstorms are. And it's interesting because there's been a lot of like scientific data that's been done over the years, especially in parts of the Midwest. And what we've learned is that when people see thunderstorms, whether it be thunderstorms or a tornado or heavy rain or lightning, and they see it, it often does a better job for them to react versus just looking at a radar image, which a bunch of pretty colors. And so that's what I'm trying to do right now behind the scenes a little bit, is open up a new window. So you'll bear with me for a second. You're going to see the screen change for just a second. And I'm going to show you a look from Julian looking south, and it's going to take me just a moment to do this. What you're looking at right now is obviously not what we are trying to show you. Just bear with me here. We're going to take this, and then we're going to import this into here, and we'll take this image, and what you're going to see in a second is a live shot from Julian of that cell that is moving in. So let's get back down to weather full screens. There we go. All right, and I'm going to get rid of this banner up here for just a second as well. Get rid of the banner. Get rid of that. Get rid of all this. Get rid of the logo, the banner. Okay, so take this, move it down here. All right, so this is from our Alert California, UC San Diego, and SDG&E cam. And what you're looking at is a live camera shot from Julian, which is pointed to the south and slightly southeast. And check out what you are seeing with this. It's a lot of very dark clouds, heavy rain in here as well. Off on the left-hand side of your screen, you can see the rain shaft, the rain shield that is coming down. That's where the very heavy downpours are, certainly within this cell, and the lightning as well. The gusty winds are obviously all going to be over there. And so this is just something I want you to watch and to look at here for just a second, because this is proof that indeed there is a severe storm right now that continues to approach Julian from the south. So on the left-hand side of your screen, you're seeing the rain shaft and the rain shield. You can see some of those darker colors. That is the heavy amounts of rain, likely the winds 50 to 55 miles per hour. There might even be a little bit of lightning in there and also a little bit of hail in there as the storm moves northwest towards Julian. So that's a live look over Julian right now. And you can see the community of Julian down there towards the center background of your screen, and then that cell that's approaching from the south moving towards Julian. So really interesting perspective. Again, back over to our radar now, and the cell itself continues to weaken. The National Weather Service still has this severe thunderstorm warning out until 2:15. But again, as we look at the laps here over the past hour, the cell is clearly on the downtick. It's still a strong cell, but I don't think we're finding winds or hail anymore that is up to severe criteria. And we can check on that again by going back over to our exclusive Barron button, our threat detector button, and obviously it is picking up on heavy amounts of rain in here, right? Look at some of these rainfall rates. We're talking 2 inches per hour. So I think, yes, we have the orange severe thunderstorm warning polygon in effect here until 2:15. I'm less concerned now with severe hail and severe wind, and a little bit more concerned with how much rain is adding up. So as we look at this cell right now on our exclusive threat detector, you can see number one, that the rainfall rates within this cell are 2 to 2.5 inches per hour. And what that basically means is if this cell was to sit over the same location for an hour, up to 2 inches of rain would fall. And that's really not out of the realm of possibility at all. And I say that because the storm right now is only moving to the northwest at 10 miles per hour. So it is possible we could actually be talking about 2 inches of rain falling per hour in some of these spots. Again, less concerned now with the hail, less concerned with the wind, more concerned with the rainfall rates. You can see the hail swath. The hail was definitely the largest on this cell as it kind of passed over Skyline Drive, west of Sunrise Highway there, and northeast of Pine Creek Road, and west of Mount Laguna. This is the point in time. This is around 1:15 or so, where we had likely some hail rates. That's a pretty drawing, isn't it? Let me try that again. We had some hail rates in here that were more than likely, 1.5 inches. And so right before the severe thunderstorm warning was issued on this cell is when we had the most intense hail that's falling. Notice now as we look at the live Doppler radar presentation that we've kind of lost some of those purple or magenta colors. That indicates to me that there's almost no hail falling within this storm. If it is falling, it is definitely very weak hail, small hail, penny-size hail. It is no longer at that severe criteria. Again, formally, severe thunderstorm warning until 2:15, so we'll be streaming until at least then, or if the severe thunderstorm warning expires. That's my policy, is if there is a severe thunderstorm warning anywhere in Imperial County or in San Diego County, or obviously any other kind of life-threatening warning, a tornado warning, whatever else, I stream with you until that warning is expired. So formally, yes, severe thunderstorm warning continues here until 2:15, but just looking over the laps, over the past 45 minutes, the cell continues to very, very clearly weaken. It is on approach to Harrison Park. It is on approach to Julian. This will pass west of Scissors Crossing. San Isabel would likely get some rain from this over the next hour or so. Remember, it's only moving northwest at about 10 miles per hour. What else is happening around San Diego County? We're getting new cells that are starting to pop up. And like I told you, it is only 1:46 in the afternoon. So we have a long way to go until, we are in the all clear. It's probably not going to be until about 6 or 7 o'clock in this evening that we're done with our severe weather threat for the day. We're just getting into daytime heating. The monsoon high is in a very favorable pattern to give us strong to severe thunderstorms this afternoon, like we've already seen. And then tomorrow, actually, we have an even better chance at strong to severe thunderstorms. So today is busy. Tomorrow is going to be busy as well. And then things will start to quiet down for us a little bit as we head into Wednesday, although a couple of isolated showers are still possible. Here's a new cell that has popped up right now. This one has a possibility to go up and grow really fast. This is near Eagle's Nest and southeast of Holcomb Village. As I put this into laps, it looks like it is at the time, at right this second, nearly stationary, but I would suspect that it is probably going to be drifting to the northwest here at about 5 to 10, just like some of our other cells have been today. Very slow movers. The biggest threat overall today is going to be the potential for heavy rainfall that could lead to flooding, right? We're in that mesoscale discussion by the Weather Prediction Center. All of Southern California, all of San Diego County, indicating that as these thunderstorms start to go up, more than likely they're going to be moving extremely slowly and they're going to be putting down some heavier rainfall rates. Look at the cells here that are starting to get going across Baja. These are very strong. I mean, these are some big-time thunderstorms that we're watching, and they're also going to be heading north and northwest slowly, again at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. But these could run into southwest Imperial County, southeast San Diego County here within the next probably 2 hours or so. And I think that, this storm up here, up near Julian in Mount Laguna, this is going to fizzle. This will fade. Our severe thunderstorm warning will expire soon. And then the two other areas we need to watch are obviously going to be these cells down here that are in Baja. They're getting pretty strong, and they're going to track north and northwest into southeast San Diego County, and then eventually southwestern Imperial County as well. So this is spot number one that we're going to need to watch. And then this new cell that's going up in far northern San Diego County, kind of straddling right along Riverside County, is going to be the next cell that we need to watch. And in fact, let's see if they have issued any kind of special weather statement on it, because it has grown pretty quickly. And not yet, no special weather statement on that cell in northern San Diego County, getting close to Riverside County. But again, just within the past 15 minutes, this storm has grown really strong in strength. And it is a compact, it is a small cell. The environment here is very favorable for the cell to intensify, possibly get stronger, more than likely get stronger, and maybe even go severe. Nonetheless, winds, rain, hail is going to be a threat with that one, so we're watching it very closely. I want to kind of take you through, since things are relatively quiet right now, other than our cell up here in northern San Diego County, and then those cells moving out of Baja into southeastern San Diego County and southwestern Riverside County. I want to, for just a moment, kind of take you through what I expect to happen in the next few hours, and we can do that by looking at our Futurecast model. And I want to make sure I'm looking at the latest run here. There we go. So Futurecast does a great job of showing where those cells are right now. And just a little kind of trick, whenever you're forecasting weather, the best computer model to use, I'm talking about mesoscale models or short range models, the best computer model to use is always going to be the one that does the closest depiction to what's actually happening. And so look at this computer model, our Futurecast model, and it does a really great job of showing the cell here near Mount Laguna that went severe. It's showing the cell that's popping up near northern San Diego County, almost getting into Riverside County. And it's also showing the cells down here near Baja that are tracking towards the north. So this gives me good confidence that whatever this model is going to play out here, as I put it in motion, is probably going to be a pretty accurate depiction of what's going to happen. So, all right, check it out. Let's go through time. This is now 3:25, so that puts us at about a little less than 2 hours from now. Those cells do move out of Baja and they make it into southeastern San Diego County. This would probably be a strong or severe storm. It looks like the storms up here in northern San Diego County, southern Riverside County may struggle a little bit. And then we see new cells trying to pop up out here in southwestern Imperial County. So that's just 3:25, right? Maybe an hour, hour and a half from now. Then look at what happens as we get towards 4:30, 5 o'clock. We get a whole new bunch and round of strong to severe thunderstorms that start popping up here across southwestern Imperial County. And this would be west of El Centro and right along the 8. These guys will need to be watched very closely for the possibility of heavy rain, flooding. And then in this part of Imperial County too, whenever the wind really kicks up, it can lead to reduced visibility, blowing dust concerns. So obviously, those are going to be the cells that we need to watch. So this is just the start of a busy afternoon. I mean, we're approaching 2 o'clock now. I expect things to continue to get busier as we progress through the next couple of hours. And then finally, again, by the time we get to 7 o'clock, look at what happens as soon as we lose daytime heating, right? And we get to about 7 o'clock tonight, then the thunderstorms completely fizzle, they dissipate, and we're done with any active weather for tonight. Now, what happens as we head into tomorrow? Well, I'm going to need to change the run on this because this is only a 24-hour run. Let's get back over to 12Z. Here we go. Okay, so this is tomorrow afternoon. Here's 12:20 on Tuesday afternoon, and notice we're still fairly dry, but look at what's happening. Tomorrow, you're already starting to see tomorrow afternoon around lunchtime, you're seeing cells popping up around Baja, California. And after that, as we put this further into motion, all of a sudden, San Diego County, the mountains just explode in thunderstorm activity. And these traverse the San Diego County mountains. They get up into Riverside County, get out near Indio, near Palm Springs, Palm Desert. And all of these will have the potential to become strong to severe by tomorrow afternoon. And on top of that, a flooding threat. So this is kind of area number 1 that we're going to have to watch for tomorrow afternoon. And then area number 2 is going to be another complex of storms that comes out of Baja late tomorrow afternoon and pushes perhaps into Imperial County in some spots that maybe didn't see rain over the past couple of days. Like Calipatria, Brawley may pick up on some cells by tomorrow afternoon. Here's 4:30. And so again, tomorrow will be very busy with multiple rounds of strong to potentially severe thunderstorms. The flooding threat remains today. You can see we're in a risk level 1 out of 4 for flooding by the Weather Prediction Center. They put out that precipitation discussion, which indicates some scattered flash flooding is possible. And then tomorrow, a very similar scenario with, again, another risk level 1 out of 4 for flash flooding in our area for sure. Let's get back over to radar for a second and show you, look at this. It's all but gone, right? That cell that was northwest of Mount Laguna, our severe cell, has dissipated almost completely. I would expect the National Weather Service in San Diego to cancel this severe thunderstorm warning any moment now, although sometimes when they get within 15 minutes of a severe thunderstorm warning expiring, they'll just let it run out. So I think that's what could be happening here. So I would say that they'll keep this polygon probably until about 2:15, allow it to expire on time, but this cell is just about done. You may get a little rain up here in Julian, Pine Hills. I know I was tracking that storm out for you with our tool, with our tracker. I would say still rain, some claps of thunder. It could still be a tough drive in Julian through Winola, Santa Isabel. You're going to get some rain, some thunder, but this storm is very much non-severe at this point. This is just a rain shower. And again, it's just the general idea today that, these storms go up and they stay strong for a little bit, and then they weaken pretty quickly because there's just not a lot of forcing. We don't have a cold front. We don't have a warm front. We do have instability. I mean, CAPE is 2,000 to 3,000 joules per kilogram over some of these spots here that we're watching, which is extremely high for Southern California. CAPE, convective available potential energy, just another word for storm fuel. But this is going to be the next one to watch. And still so far, no special weather statement on it, but this is the cell that has my attention at this point. It's in far northern San Diego County, about to move into Riverside County. If it goes severe and it moves into Riverside County, we'll continue to track it into Riverside County as well. But again, it is showing some signs of intensification a little bit. I'm curious to see which one of these two, because you have one here and then one here out near Eagle's Nest. I'm curious to see which one of these two, kind of a break right in here. I'm curious to see which two of these cells are going to become the dominant cell. Sometimes when thunderstorm cells are too close together like this, they fight over energy, and then none of them become the dominant cell. Sometimes you get cell mergers where they kind of merge together and then become a lot stronger. It remains to be seen. That is what we call nowcasting. There's not really an accurate way to predict what's going to happen, but you can see there's one cell here in southern Riverside County, and then another cell in northern San Diego County near Eagle's Nest. See how it tried to get strong? You even saw a little hail core on that cell north of Eagle's Nest. And then it kind of fizzled down a little bit. It down-ticked, and that's because that other cell, the cell to the north across southern Riverside County, picked up in intensity. And so now you have these two storms that are kind of competing for energy. So we're going to see what happens and which one wins, or if we get a storm cell merger. But regardless, no special weather statement on it at this point in time, just because, again, those storms are competing for energy. Severe thunderstorm warning until 2:15 on this. The storm is no longer severe. It is just a rain cell. And so obviously the Weather Service is going to let the clock run out on this and let it expire at 2:15. Like I told you, kind of a behind the scenes thing is a lot of the times, pardon me, when you get within 15 minutes of either a tornado warning or a severe thunderstorm warning expiring, the Weather Service, even if they see it's weakened dramatically, will just kind of let the clock run out on it and keep the polygon up. But for all effective purposes, this severe thunderstorm warning has been expired in my mind, with just one little rain cell left over. Still tracking the strong storms in Baja. These are going to move into southeastern San Diego County over the next couple of hours. Real quickly before we jump off, and I have a feeling I'll be back with you later today, I want to show you the accumulation over the past 3 hours or so. It's this one cell down here northeast of Balua Picnic Grounds and west of Mount Laguna that went severe, that we saw quite a bit of rainfall. In fact, Doppler radar estimated that we picked up over 2 inches of rain in the course of 45 minutes to an hour. Luckily, no flash flood warnings to talk about with that. And again, that cell has weakened. Our next thing that we're going to be watching here in the next little bit, of course, is going to be these cells that are going to be moving right out of Baja in Mexico and pushing their way north into San Diego County. We'll get some special weather statements. More than likely, some of these storms will probably go severe at some point. And look at the electric storms down here a little further south into Baja. These are some big time thunderstorms. I mean, my goodness, how many lightning strikes? Let's see. Are we able to do that? Yeah. Just within the past hour, 300 lightning strikes. So these are obviously severe. And again, this is kind of like a precursor, so to speak, of what I think is going to happen a little bit here in San Diego County, maybe a couple hours from now. Not guaranteed, but we'll watch it. Again, the next one up the line is going to be this cell right here in Baja. It's going to work into Jacumba. Let's track it for you real quickly as it does work its way northward towards Jacumba, and I'll do kind of a broader track on this. We'll go like that, kind of track it out like that. These are moving at about 10 to 15. And it doesn't, for whatever reason, doesn't want to give me any cities on that. But Jacumba, Bankhead Springs, Tierra del Sol, Live Oak Springs, Clover Flats, Boulder Park, I would be prepared for strong thunderstorms in the next couple of hours. And then we continue to watch our cells up here in northern San Diego County and southern Riverside County for intensification. I told you that there were two different cells that were kind of competing for energy. It looks like they're merging together. So instead of them fighting for energy separately, they've now merged together. So yeah, we'll see what happens. There's definitely a little hail core on this one out in Riverside County, southern Riverside County, to the south of Toole Canyon Road there. You can see some of the black stripes indicating where we may have some small hail, penny-sized hail falling. But we are, for all intents and purposes, warning free right now in San Diego County. The cell that prompted the severe thunderstorm warning has fizzled out. It is weakened completely. And so we'll be back with you a little bit later this afternoon as more storms pop up. And if we get more severe thunderstorm warnings, we'll see you then. For now, stay safe. Have a great afternoon, everybody, and we'll talk to you real soon.